Good morning, happy Thursday. The one day of the week when I know what day it is. What an achievement. My goodness, did you see was it Tuesday and I thought it was Wednesday? It's so confusing because my kids this morning came in and went, yay, it's Friday, because they break up from school for half term today. So for them, it's a Friday. I was like, stop confusing me with the day. It's like the only day. Thursdays, now weekly wisdom. Do you like the new branding? I think it's beautiful. It's so funky. So the setup with these sessions, if this is your first one, huge welcome. Please say hello if you're joining live. If you're watching on the replay, pretend you're watching live. Still say hello, still interact, still say hello to me. So how these have worked in the past is that I would come live every Thursday at 10:30 and I would have picked some topics. There's stuff going on for me. I would have pretty much decided within about 2 hours before I did it what I was going to talk about. But we've got a little bit more organised about it now. So we are, Alison, hi, lovely to have you here. So we have planned out and structured these sessions now. So we know what's coming up. We're going to be able to keep the theme of the various posts that we put during the week to support this session. So everything that I do, everything that I share with you during the week, the little posts, the little quotes, are all around the same theme as what this session will be. And the idea of this is that you get my brain for however long you need it. Morning, Kirsty. You get my time, you get my thoughts, you get my reflections, you get a chance to come in and ask questions however you want to. I have a plant, I know, doesn't it look like a florist behind me? It's called a princetta, so I thought it was a poinsettia, but no, it's pink, it's fluoro pink, my pink. Yeah, it does look a bit like a florist. My other flowers are dying, so I thought I'd boost them a bit. But yes, I don't know how long it's going to last. It was on my windowsill. But I think it was getting too hot because that's above the radiator, because all the leaves at the bottom have gone brown and fallen off already. So let's hope that lasts a little bit longer. They're supposed to last till Christmas, aren't they? But yeah, I like my plant. I'm not very good with plants. I tend to kill them pretty quickly. Anyway, back on point. Thank you for noticing, Deborah. So the idea of these is that we get to talk about an idea, we talk about a concept, we talk about a way of thinking, an approach, a strategy, a tool, a mindset, something or other. Pauline, morning, and we get to develop that while we're here, and we get to develop it through the week as well. So what I'm trying to do is kind of bring everything together in a little bit more of a cohesive way so that you can stay with the group, follow those thoughts, and actually take something away from this session that you can then go implement, have your own thoughts around, and you know what, you can share if you want to, you can ask the questions. Yeah, accidentally implied. That's another thing in common, Kirsty. It's frightening. So I've got two things to tell you about before we kick off with today's topic, which is ideas. So the first one is a pretty quick event. So this time tomorrow, so in 24 hours time, I'm going to be doing a live interview in the group, which if you've seen me do these before, they're great fun. They're a great opportunity to, again, learn. But I'm bringing a lady called Lisa into this group. I'm not going to even pronounce her second name. She can tell us how to do that tomorrow. It's worse than mine. It's probably not, it's probably really straightforward, but I'm not going to hash it up and pronounce it incorrectly for her. So Lisa is a specialist in all sorts of areas, online marketing, and she's going to tell us about her business, what she does, share her wisdom with us for an hour, and then I know that she's got an amazing offer to talk about with you tomorrow. So that's 10:30. I didn't want to confuse anybody by creating the event for that before I'd done this one. So when I'm finished, I'm going to create the event, invite you all to that and add a little bit more detail around that. But worth coming in live, because again, you can ask her questions and I can put them to her. So rather than it being live in the event like this is, because I have to use the StreamYard where I can bring the two of us together, we will just be on the feed. So as long as you're in the group at around about 10:30, then I'm sure you will find us. So that is tomorrow. That is definitely in the diary. I can tell you that's definitely happening. And then next week, this is a teaser because I'm not going to tell you much about it. Next week, I've got a big announcement about what's coming in November, which is very much in the advanced stages of the plan, which is the next challenge. I've gone really specific on my topic this time. And I've chosen the topic because it just keeps coming up around a block that people are having, and they know they need to get past this particular thing. So I've decided to just do a challenge on that. So I'm going to tell you all about that next week. So stay really close to the group to find out what that is all about. If you are new, because I saw that there was a welcome post this week which had about 25 people in there, which is epic. If you are new to me, if you are new to this group, huge warm welcome to you. It's fabulous to have you. As I say, interact, ask questions. You will get out of this group as much as you put in, and I'm here to serve you. I'm here to help. I'm here to ask the questions you don't ask somewhere else because everybody seems really experienced. Doesn't matter. Ask them in here. Okay, so my first question to you for today, well, as we kick off talking about ideas, which side of the fence are you? Because we're going to approach both during today. Are you a too many ideas, like your brain's buzzing all the time and you find it difficult to sort of hone yourself into one idea, or you maybe start off with one idea and it spins off to something else and something else and something else? Are you a too many ideas, or are you a struggle because I don't have any ideas? I don't feel like I can generate ideas. Tell me which side of the fence you sit on. Cheers, by the way, if you have tea or coffee. I have tea. This is still from this morning, so I haven't got very much left. Kirsty, you'll be proud of me. I ran this morning. I got a sub 30-minute 5K, which means I'm still a little bit rosy because it was nowhere near as cold as I thought it was going to be, so I wore far too much. You can't stop once you go, can you, and start taking layers off? So come on, what are you? Are you a too many ideas, or are you a not enough ideas? Because it's worth me knowing who I'm talking to and which side of the fence you're on. Epic pace, thank you. It's been a while getting back into it, but yeah, I've found my legs again now. Okay, Deborah, they come in waves. So sometimes lots of ideas and then nothing, then another wave of ideas. Okay, so that's almost like the whoosh and it all, and then you can feel a little bit overwhelmed when that happens. And then when you're almost trying to have those ideas, then they don't come. Pauline, too many, yeah. You swing between the two, feast or famine. Okay, brilliant. So if we stay pretty much down the middle then. So, just take a little breath for a minute, okay? Right, define what an idea is first. That's the important thing. What am I talking about when I say ideas? So we need ideas all the time. We need ideas to come up with solutions to get through daily stuff in our lives, don't we? To work around just like how to solve this problem, how to solve that problem. And actually in your business, that is a constantly evolving situation. There are constantly things showing up, be them challenges, be them things you don't know how to solve, and you need ideas to get over them. So actually your ideas might be related to, well, how do I get past that particular challenge? How do I find a workaround to that? How do I solve that issue? Ideas might be how you want to actually take your expertise, your knowledge yourself out to the world. They might be around, well, I'm not sure whether to do a course, whether to have an online access thing, whether to do my thing face to face, whether to go and do an event when we all can. But you might not be sure how to take your ideas out to the world. You might want to do one thing, but you feel as though actually there's something else that is pulling you for your ideal client, and that's what they might want, and you don't know how to shape it. They might even just be the next steps you're supposed to take. So, well, I'm here now and I feel as though I've got a good, sound, solid base of my business, but actually I'm not clear on how I want to move forward. So when I'm talking about ideas, it could be any number of them. They don't necessarily have to be what is the thing that I'm going to sell. I'm not narrowing it to that level. We're talking all sorts, could be anything. We're going to talk about the narrowing in a second. So let's talk too few. Oh no, hang on. Got some comments, sorry, I don't want to miss them. Lots of ideas, they tend to be half-baked. Okay, yeah, so it's almost like they're not very deep, but you've got a few sort of excuse me, that's post-cough, that's post-run cough. That there's almost a few sort of, well, could that, but then there's no real depth to it. So let's talk about the too few first, because we've all been in that situation. The first step that I would advise when you're sitting and you know that you need to generate something. So let's say you have allocated yourself a set time in the week, and this is absolutely what I recommend, by the way. Allocate yourself a set time in the week to produce a plan for your content, for what you're going to post, what are you going to share, how are you going to take your message to the world. So you sit down once a week and you go, right, I need to just kind of get all these ideas on paper, and then I can sort them into what I'm going to put where and add a bit of detail to it. And you sit down and it's just like, oh no, the ideas aren't coming. Oh my, but this is the time that I said I was going to do the ideas thing, and this is when I've got to write all my content, and yet you sit and it just doesn't happen. So you sit for a bit longer and you're like, no, come on, I'll just start writing some stuff down, and it just doesn't come. So my first advice, if the ideas aren't coming, is to just relax about it, because the more we get all, oh, I've got to do this, I've got to get this done, actually the more we're just blocking it, because we're not allowing ourselves to just let things come in and go out. So when we take time out, when we almost shut our mind off from the rest of the noise that's going on, that's when we can tune in much better to things that are coming in and going out of our minds, because it is in there. And that's quite freeing to know it's in there already. You've just got to find them. It's like that, when you see someone perhaps in a movie or a show somewhere, and you're like, I've seen that person before, I totally recognise that person, and you can't quite make the connection. And the more you think of it, you just can't get them, you can't place them. But then you go off and you do something else, and then suddenly it pops into your head, oh yeah, they were in the so-and-so whatever film. It's the same thing with any idea. The more you push, the more you you try and force it, the more you're likely to just hit those blockers. So the first thing to do is relax. Now, what does relaxing mean? I don't mean just kind of sit and just switch off, which might actually work for you, but change how you're trying. So do something else. Tell yourself that you're still working on getting your ideas, but you're going to do it in a different way. You're going to go and you're going to take a walk. You're going to go and clean your kitchen floor. You're going to go and you're just going to do something totally unrelated that allows your conscious mind to be concentrating on a certain thing, but actually your subconscious mind is now a little bit freer because you've taken the pressure off, because you're doing something else. I find that if there's something I've been chewing over that I just can't seem to sort of get to the bottom of, or I don't feel motivated to start. That's the other thing, is if you're just not able to sort of almost like push yourself off the precipice and then let the ideas flow. That literally going and having a blast around the block in my car and having a little sing song to some music, or doing something totally unrelated, is enough to start that ideas off. Have you got things already? Tell me if you've got something that you do to sort of break that circuit. Is it that you go and read? Is it that you go and watch a movie? Is there something that you know that you can do? Because if you do know it, brilliant. But if you don't, then start to have a think about how can you break that I'm trying and be able to do something else that's still constructive, that might break that cycle. So yeah, share if you've got the ideas, because it's great to be able to say, oh yeah, I never thought of doing that. Oh yeah, I might try that one as well. Some people have come up with the most amazing ways of getting back into that creativity. So once you've taken that break, what I like to do is go back to very basics. So go back to the who am I looking to serve? Now, everyone who has been with me for any length of time knows that I'm like a stuck record when I talk about the ideal client, who you're looking to serve, getting to know them, getting into their head, understanding what they need, and all of that stuff, because it is crucial. It is the single most important factor to generating those ideas, to generating what you're going to bring to the world, because it needs to be something that lights you up. Don't get me wrong, I don't want you to be doing things that is all for your ideal client but you feel a bit icky about. I want you to be doing things that are lighting you up, but predominantly they should be for the purpose of serving your ideal client. And actually, when we're sitting trying to think of these ideas and what should we do, then we can get into that cycle of, well, what do I want to do? I don't want to do that. Starting to take you out of this picture is really empowering, because it allows you to put your ideal client back in the very front and centre and say, what do they want? Like, what do they need to hear? What do they need from me at the moment? What is it that they can benefit from if I share this with them? And actually putting them in the centre of your mind and having that, almost that subconscious conversation with them. Hi, because you should have named them, that's the other thing. Hi, so-and-so, how are you today? How's things going? How are you feeling? What's going on in your life at the moment? And then suddenly that person should start to talk to you, because you know them so well. You've got to grips with who they are. they do connect with you and you connect with them, so that you can tap into that. Oh, that's interesting that that's going on for you at the moment. That gives me an idea. I can this and this. Let's find out what you're doing. Running, yeah, get the cobwebs away. Journaling for a few minutes, anything you're thinking and feeling, yeah, nice. Helps get your mind and helps the creativity. Yeah, journaling is a brilliant way of shifting all sorts of things, particularly if you're, we all have those days where you're just in a bit of a funk, like you don't really know why, you've just woken up not particularly feeling it. If that's your day of attempting to be creative and come up with ideas, you're pretty much going to know you're going to bang your head against a brick wall from the moment you start. So journaling can help to rid some of that stuff. Even if you just literally ask yourself, how am I feeling today? Why am I feeling that? And working it through by writing it down is hugely cleansing. So yeah, really good one. Walking for me is a big one as well. And although I take my dogs and they're a bit distracting at times, it can help, because actually walking doesn't mean that I'm constantly fighting a battle of wanting to stop running. I can be more relaxed on a walk. So yeah, I think walking, getting the heart rate raised. I mean, literally, physically, as soon as you raise your heart rate, the activity in your brain increases, because you've increased the blood flow to everywhere in your body. You've increased the blood flow to your brain, which is what it needs to start generating those ideas. Having a glass of water, I know it sounds like the most stupid thing to say, but if you're even remotely dehydrated, your body is in stress on some level. So actually making sure that you're fully hydrated, that your nutrition is good, that you're not sitting there starving, hungry and thirsty and tired and all of those things. Making sure that you're in a good place before you then start generating your ideas is a really, really good tip as well. Journaling, I know you're loving the journaling. Okay, so thinking about who you're serving, that we've said that. So relaxing, don't try and force it. Change how you try. So do one of these tools that you know that you're shaking up, you're trying to move into a different state of mind. So whatever that means for you. Define exactly what that person needs that you're serving. So what do they need to hear today? Who is it that needs to hear your message, and therefore talk to them? Really concentrate on talking to them. Make sure that you are in a positive state, that you are in a relaxed state, you're in a healthy state. So as I say, you're not overly tired, you're not hungry, you're not dehydrated, because that allows your body to function at its best. And make the task in hand about them, not about you, because if you're at the centre of this and you are sort of blocking yourself, then you're going to end up just kind of perpetually, I could that, but I don't want to do that. I could that. It's not about you, is it? When you're trying to generate ideas that are serving somebody else, it should be putting them first. So putting them front and centre. I'm trying to read my really bad writing. Yes. Oh yeah, I see what that means now. I've written one word. I was like, what? This is lazy. Okay, so this point is around the fact that your brain is a muscle, and we get very lazy with our creativity. Some of us do. If we're not creative all the time. So you think of when you were a child, you probably had these amazing games that you used to play. You used to be able to think up all of these, this, that and the others, and scenarios. And I hear my kids sometimes create the most complex arrangements of their games. It's amazing to hear. But that gets rusty as we get older, unless we're constantly stimulating it, just like any muscle. So actually, give yourself a break. Like, if you haven't had to come up with ideas, if you've not had to create workarounds, if you've not had to be creative or particularly imaginative in what you've been doing for the last few years, then give yourself a break, because this is new to you and it's going to take time to build that muscle again and get into the habit of it. So actually, starting small and starting with things that are really simple is a really rewarding way to start developing that muscle, in exactly the same way as you would if you were starting to train any muscle in your body. You wouldn't just suddenly go out and attempt to lift, a 50 kilo weight. You would build yourself up gradually. So be conscious of it. You are problem solving all day long. Guarantee it. Be it on a practical basis, be on an emotional basis, be it on a creativity basis. You are creating those ideas, those workarounds, those solutions all day long. So actually tune into them a little bit more. Give yourself a bit of a pat on the back. If you've come across a DIY problem. So I'm the DIYer in this house, and there's regularly things that I get cross about because I can't find a way around, and like my skills are basic at best, but I still managed to try and find a way around. And actually celebrating when you've done that actually going, right, I've solved that. That was a problem, I've solved that. That was a problem, I've solved that. And be celebrating those, because the more you do that, the more that muscle is getting rewarded, the more the muscle is building its strength. So then when you call on it to do the bigger stuff around, right, I need you to help me now sort this bigger problem, it's already started that, yeah, I can do this. And you've given yourself that pat on the back when you've come up with a solution, and you're able to develop those a little bit more. So let me recap again. I want you to relax when the ideas don't come. Don't push it, because that's the worst thing you can do. You'll end up just getting more and more in a funk about it and cross with yourself, which is no place to be. Change the way that you try. So change it up, do something else that you love, do something you enjoy, get yourself into that high energy space that we talked about when I did that chat with Jackie. So being in that sort of much more positive state of mind is going to be much more conducive to getting those ideas to flow. Think about who you are serving, that make it about them, put them at the centre of the picture, put them at the centre of what it is you're trying to do, create, move forward. It's all about them, it's not about you. Make sure that you are in a good place, health-wise, physically. Don't sit there freezing cold and starving hungry when you're trying to create your ideas. Make sure you're in that positive space, as well as your energy levels. And you start to use that ideas muscle a little bit more whenever you can, whenever there's an opportunity. Put something in place. Oh yeah, I can actually solve that. Yeah, actually I am going to work that through. I'm not just going to give up. Yeah, look at me. I've managed to solve that problem on my own. And celebrate it. Does that help? Has that given you something? I'm turning my page over because we're going to go to the too many now. Does that give you something that you can go to now when you're in that, I haven't got the ideas? Tell me yes, tell me no. Should do. Oh, shameless plug. Hold on, I missed the shameless plug. Journaling, I've said. A video in my group. Oh yes, fabulous. Let's look at, if you've done a video on journaling, perfect, we'll have a look at that. Mindfulness and meditation can help. Yeah, can release, the frustration. And exactly, it's that sort of, you don't want to be like that. You want to just let the ideas come, let the ideas go. And the ones that settle and the ones that percolate a little bit longer are probably the ones that are worth keeping, worth taking hold of. So let's go to the other extreme then. What if you've got too many? What if you've got those little fleeting, oh, I could this, I could that, I could this, and you tend to find yourself going from that idea to then that develops into that idea, and then that one gets forgotten, and it's all a little bit incohesive. Is that a name? Is that a word? Yeah, I think it is. So you're not able to sort of grab them. There's a book called Big Magic by Elizabeth someone will know it, which I started to try and read, but I found it a little bit meandering for my liking. But the principle behind that is lovely. I love this idea that actually there are ideas floating around in the world all the time, and they're a little bit like, I picture them like little Casper ghosts. This is my imagery. And when you are receptive, an idea will come to you and it will present itself to you. It is of course up to you what you do with that idea, but it becomes your idea, so that you can have that idea for as long as you need it. Now you can work that idea and you can develop that idea and you can make it fly and you can take it forward, or you can do nothing with it. But the idea will only stay with you for a certain length of time. This is the concept in this book. And if you don't develop it, if you don't push it as hard as you can, if you don't make the most of it so that it has the chance to be birthed into the world as what it should be, then that idea will leave you and it will go to somebody else, because then it will try to get itself taken out into the world through somebody else. And that's pretty much the book summed up, by the way, in case you fancy reading it. That idea, that concept I love, because it means that there is an abundance, perpetually an abundance of ideas, but actually it's up to us whether or not we take those ideas forward. But it's okay if you're not going to, because that idea will recognise that this isn't right for you, that you're not a good match, and it will go on to somebody else who may well be able to take that idea out to the world. So don't get in that, oh, I've got to develop everything, I've got to get this to this and this, and it's not about that. It's about letting the ideas and the things come to you and develop the ones that are right for you, because they won't all be. They won't all be the ones that should be your ideas, and therefore they'll leave you and they'll go to somebody else. I love that concept. Okay, so what to do if you end up with too many? Oh, you've virtually said my first point, Deborah. That's spooky. I've just read your... Okay, so too many ideas. And we can end up with some of those days when we just feel like there's loads. I get them in the middle of the night, and it's annoying. But sometimes it's just like a half idea and then it'll go. So I don't keep them. But I sometimes get like a full on, like top to bottom, everything to do with the idea will come. It'll be the concept, the picture of it, the solution, the this, and then they're the ones where I go, okay, yeah, I need to actually take action on that because there's something behind it. The ones that are just sort of those surface level ones, I'm not so worried about. But what I will try and do, I won't quite wake up and force myself to note it if it's a sort of fleeting one, but to note them down, exactly as you've said. Yeah, whatever solution you've got, be it a voice note on your phone, a notepad sort of list. If things come to you, just note them. And when you've noted them, move on for a while because you've got them now, you've recorded them. You don't need to dwell on it. You don't need to force it because it's in that forcing we end up back in that place of, oh, I haven't got enough ideas, I haven't got enough content. Whereas actually just putting them down and then moving on, getting on with your day, getting on with whatever you're doing, it allows you to almost relax about the fact that, well, I've got it recorded, I can come back to it. So if you end up having 3, 4, 5, 6 ideas all noted down, there should be a time in your day, time in your routine where you can go back and just have another look over them, because you'll look and you'll go, well, that doesn't really mean anything to me now, or that's not necessarily something that I'm ready for, or yeah, it sounds nice but I'm not really clear on it. And then there'll be others that sort of spring out at you because you feel like there's a little bit more detail going to come and you can develop them. So actually reviewing them and sort of almost prioritising them can help. So saying, yeah, I like that, or just scrubbing them off and going, that's not for now. That's like it's not for me, it's distracting, it's something that I'm not ready for, it's me trying to distract myself, it's procrastination, and being honest with yourself about that's why that idea was there, because it was putting me off doing the thing that I actually should be doing. So actually review what you've noted down and prioritise them. And just pick one. So the problem that most people experience when they have loads and loads of ideas is that we try and progress all those ideas on a level. So we push this one a bit and then we go, right, I'll leave that there because I've done some work on that. Now I'm going to push this idea a little bit more because that needs to catch up. And then I'll move, and then we end up with like 4 or 5 projects on a go at any one time. Now, we are all we're all solopreneurs, aren't we? We are everything, and we might be dealing with the finances, we might be doing our marketing, we might be doing sales, we might be ideas generating, we might be serving clients, we might be doing 1,000,001 things in any one day. So what you can't be doing successfully is progressing 3, 4, 5, 6 different projects. You are not a huge corporate that's got 4 people allocated to that project and 5 people allocated to that project. So the more concentrated your effort can be on that one idea, the better. Now, what if that idea that you chose, you get to a certain point and you go, oh, that's not really flying now, that's kind of hit a dead end, that's not going where I thought it was going to go. You've got a decision to make at that point, but at least you've put the effort in to just that one, you've worked on that one, you've developed that one, you've added to it, you've added detail, you've added depth, you've considered it to as much degree as you can. If then you choose to let it go, then fine. That idea, going back to the big ideas concept, that idea can then fly off somewhere else. You've tried to shape it, to form it for you, but it wasn't for you. So you can let it go, and then you can go back to something else on your list. If you're trying to do lots of them at the same time, imagine how much longer it's going to take you to get to that point where you go, yeah, that one's not for me. It's going to take you ages, and then actually none of them have developed to the point where you're going to make a choice of either, yes, this is amazing and it's going to fly, or no, it's not for me and I'm going to let it go. Now, these can be, of course, small ideas, these can be big ideas. So if these are just around what to post on social media to create some content, then you're going to end up with some that are just gold. So if you're planning out your social media posts for, say, the next week, and you're coming up with some ideas, you've added some headings to a page, and then you're going to add a few more lines underneath each heading that says, well, that means that to me, and I'll talk about that. Some of them you're going to look and you're going to go, they'll be amazing, I can't wait to share that. Others you're going to go, it's fine, but that's okay. It's okay to still do enough that it's fine. If you're giving and you're sharing and you're serving and you're showing up for your ideal client, then fine is okay. It doesn't have to be perfection every single time. So just be conscious of that point at which you go, no, this isn't working, no, this isn't for me. And it has to be in the context of what it is you're working on. So if it's a social media post, then I'm going to say don't overwork it, don't kill yourself over it, don't flog yourself to death and then give up, because something is better than nothing. But if this is your signature program, if this is the single thing that you are going to take to the world to transform your ideal clients, then yes, that is really, really key. That's got to be right. It's got to be right for your ideal client. It's got to be right for you. So you need to get it to the point where you either absolutely love it or you're ready to let it go because it's not working for whatever point. So there's a way to prioritise, particularly where we're talking about what you're wanting to take to your ideal clients and the way that you want to show up to serve them. Keep asking questions if there's anything that pops up for you as I'm talking. Got one of those hairs, little tiny fine hairs. So there are 3 ways in which we can start to look at which. This works particularly well with the ideas that we want to take to our ideal clients and the way that we want to serve them. That if you've got lots of things that you want to do and you're not sure which one to really put all your effort in to develop first, this method works really well, and I will still use this every now and again to check in around what I'm offering, to check in on whether or not it's going to work. Hold on, let's answer this question first. Do you think that sometimes having no ideas is actually us self-censoring? Let's expand that. I can't expand it. Hi Emma. Do you think sometimes that having no ideas is a self-censoring, deciding that something can't work? Yeah, it can be. It absolutely can be. It can be a little bit of the self-sabotage. It can be procrastination as well. That whole sort of, oh, look at this idea over here. Go and work on this over here. Isn't this amazing? When actually it's just trying to pull you off course. So yes, it can. And that, I think, is why it helps just to work on one at a time. Because if we're working on one and that one's going okay, if then this other one sort of flies in at the side and goes, no, come and work on this over here, then that is probably us pulling ourselves away from something which could well be our big breakthrough. It could be our big idea for sure. And I think we only know that if we keep developing it, which is, again, another real benefit of not doing 3, 4, 5 different ideas all at the same time. Am I still with you? Because I'm freezing every now and again. Yeah, it can be self-sabotage. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so let me share the 3 aspects of the way that you can measure your idea. So this is for your big ideas. This isn't just like a, should I post this, should I post this? These are like this is what I'm going to take to the world. This is how I'm going to serve my clients. This is how I'm going to support them. This is maybe a program, a solution, a course, whatever it is you're going to develop to serve your clients. So the first one is that you need to note down the benefit. So these are 3. I'll tell you all 3 first. The benefit, the enjoyment, and the revenue. So the way that I do this is I'll write in like a table. So I'm going to have a space down this side where my ideas are going to go, and I'm going to list out some detail around the ideas that I've got. Of course, this is when you've got too many and you're trying to prioritise. Then we're going to talk about the benefit. So the benefit is the first column. We're going to give it a score. Now the benefit is to your ideal client. So this is the thing. Let's say you're wanting to create a webinar and you've got an idea of the topic of the webinar. You know that it'll be a free thing. It'll be an hour. And you've got a vague idea of the topic. So you've got some level of detail around what the thing is. So then you need to note down, give it a mark out of 10. What's the benefit to your ideal client of that idea? So of that webinar, are they going to get a huge amount of content from it? Are they going to be able to make some changes from it? Are they going to move themselves forward? Are they going to be in a position that's different to when they started. What's the benefit overall? If you were to ask your ideal client when it's done, what was the benefit of that for you? What are they going to say? Give it a mark out of 10. So that's your first column. The next column is the enjoyment. So this is the enjoyment for you, because too often people feel that level of obligation. They're like, well, I really need to do this, but oh my gosh, I hate doing it and it'll feel hideous, but I really should do it. There's like this, I should, I could, I feel obliged. So note down where you are on that scale of enjoyment. If doing a webinar fills you with fear, dread, makes you feel a little bit sick, and you can't think of anything worse to do in your life ever, then note it down. That's going to have like a 1 or a 2 score, isn't it? Even though you might have scored it really high for the benefit that your client's going to get, it still might be really low for you. So note it. And then the final one is around revenue, because let's be really clear, we are here ultimately to be able to make a business work, which means we can reinvest, we can reach more people, we can touch more lives, we can help people. And unless you're making a revenue within your business, you're probably not earning enough to pay your bills, and you're not going to have a successful business that's going to pay for itself. So I'm not saying revenue from a greed perspective, I'm saying revenue from a survival perspective, because you have to earn to be able to survive. So add a level against your revenue. So you've now got 3 columns. You've got your idea, which in our example is a webinar. You've now said, okay, so where's the benefit for my ideal client? I'm going to say that's about an 8, because it's going to be jam-packed full of value. But actually I feel a bit indifferent about them, so it's not the thing I really, really love, but it's fine, so I'm going to put that about a 4 or 5. And then my final one is a revenue. Well, it depends whether or not I'm going to make this chargeable, and have I then got something I could sell off the back of the webinar. So if it has 0 cost to it, as in there's no you're not going to receive any payment, then you're going to have to mark the revenue really low. So then you add up all of those scores and note it in the end column. Then you go to your next idea. So my next idea might be an ebook. So I'm going to create a book that's going to be structured, it's going to have certain sections and blah, blah, blah. And you do the same thing. Like, do I feel amazingly motivated and feel like it's just going to light me up to write this book, but actually the ideal client's not going to get that, and then how much am I going to charge? So that you can then start building this quite methodical picture around which idea is the strongest. So you've added up all the totals, you've now got a total against each one, put them in order. So the number 1 thing that's overall scored is this. And then look at it, leave it on the piece of paper, leave it on the page for a minute and go, how do I feel about that? Like, I know I've scored it, I know I've done it quite methodically, I've done it scientifically, but how do I feel about what I've just created? Have I now decided that that is my now number 1 idea, and that's the one I'm going to push on as far as I possibly can before I start working on the others? Now, it could be that you start it, as we said, and it just, I don't know, it just doesn't develop the way you think it's going to. But you've then got your number 2 already in the wings. You can default to your number 2. Does that give you a structure that you think you can use? Is anyone using something already where you've ended up having a load of ideas where you've gone, I just don't know where to start? And if you have, then absolutely share that with me, because it can be really daunting and it can be really overwhelming when you've got too many as opposed to not enough ideas. And having a way that you can go to using the benefit, enjoyment and revenue triangle, as it were, you can actually start to see which ones come up the most. And the fact that you're including an element of enjoyment for you as well, because there's no point in forcing yourself down the road of, well, I know this is going to generate the highest revenue and it's going to give the most benefit, but I absolutely detest it with my entire body. There's no point in that, because you're just going to feel misaligned. It'll show you won't be able to maintain that level of delivery, as opposed to the one that really does light you up, gives good value, and hopefully has got a good revenue return as well. Is this making sense? Give me some final comments. Anyone got any other questions? How long are we? Oh, not bad. I always say about 40 minutes, so. Any final questions on your ideas then? You started an ideas book. Oh, nice. Divided into sections, book ideas, ideas for lives, ideas for posts. Yes, that's good. I like that. the beauty of ideas as well, let's just explore your different topic, your different sections, is that they can be reused, they can be reformatted, they can be repurposed and used time and time and time again, like time and time again. And don't assume that just because you've shared something at one point that you can't share it again because, oh, I've shared that already. Doesn't matter. Like, everybody does it. I'm following somebody at the moment who's just opened like an enrolment of their program, and literally the email sequence, so I paid quite close attention to it the first time round, the email sequence that's now coming out is exactly the same. And I'm sure it's probably only 3 months or so since they did it last time. It's like, oh, okay, that is exactly the same. But of course I happened to observe it really closely the first time. Doesn't mean everybody else did. But you can do it in a way that the topic's the same, but actually you use a slightly different section. So repurposing is key. Actually, there's probably merit in having almost like your pillars of ideas. So having like 4 or 5 of your big ideas. They're like your sort of your cornerstone of what you stand for, how you support people, what you do. They're like your biggies, and then under that you've got other topics as well. Now it could be that you can write 4, 5, 6 different articles on those different things. So if in my plan for these chats, if ideas comes up again, I'll be able to talk about a different thing to do with ideas. There's probably 2, 3, 4 different topics I could cover when we talk about ideas. I could centre it much more on how to prioritise. I could centre it on how to brainstorm the ideas. So, don't be fearful of reusing. If you don't want to be really obvious and literally like copy and paste, then if you created a chapter in a book, I think we've said this, Deborah, that actually that's a content post, isn't it? It might not be as long, you might cut it down, you might use slightly different language than you would use in a more lengthy sort of literary perspective, but principally it's the same idea, isn't it? So reuse wherever you possibly can, because that helps you to actually develop the idea a little bit more, rather than saying, well, I've posted that, I've talked about that thing, so I need to like tick that off and leave it. If you go back to it in a month, you'll write it in a different way. You'll reread what you've written and you'll go, yeah, actually I wouldn't word it like that now, or I might include this example, or I might be able to tell this story that relates to that idea. So having like a bank of ideas that you use once and then you're going to go back over and back over is so valuable, and it can generate its own. So it's sort of self-creating. So you've ended up having your 4 pillars of your headline ideas, and then your other ones come off the back of it, and then they just keep coming because it's not that same post or that same bit of content you've used. It's now this, and it's now this, and it's now this, and that's why we're sort of this constantly evolving deliverer of our purpose, aren't we? We're constantly evolving ourselves. We're constantly learning ourselves through the experiences we have, through the learning that we're undertaking through our own journey. So sharing that as you go means that you would write something differently in another 3 months than you wrote previously. Yeah, repurposing all the way. Got to be done. Any other final questions? Has that been good? Has that been useful? Have you got some? I'm going to write, because there isn't an opportunity to put a headline in this post, because I did go live into the event. So I'll do a specific post and I'll just highlight those 3 areas that we talked about for the too many ideas and how to organise them. But obviously, if anything comes up, any questions, that's what I'm here for. Drop them in. If you've watched on the replay, then give us a nod and say replay. That'll be amazing. And I will see you tomorrow morning, 10:30. It's going to be great. Lisa is, she's someone that I've worked with I think it was probably at the beginning of lockdown. So talented, so knowledgeable, and the business model that she has is ever evolving as well. So I'm really looking forward to my conversation with her tomorrow at 10:30. So join me here live again, and stay close to the group next week when I'll be telling you about what's coming up in November, because it's the last week of October already next week. So very much looking ahead to that. So go and have an amazing rest of the week. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday. The sun has finally come out here, which is good. I'll speak to you all really, really soon. See you later. Bye.